I always hear students, parents, or teachers saying, stop judging people. It hurts your feelings and it's mean. And you probably have already heard many people do talks about not judging people. I totally agree with the idea of not judging, but I wanted to take judgment at a different perspective. The perspective of the person being judged. The perspective of the person who sacrifices everything to be what others want them to be. I want to know why they thought those judgments were so important. I want to know why they sacrificed everything to be what others want them to be. There are bullies everywhere. When I walk on the street, I see them, at parks and malls, everywhere. What if one day those bullies came to you and started bullying you, criticizing your style, criticizing your beliefs, and everything about you? So then you started changing everything about you, how you act, how you dress, everything. Then you start becoming just like the bully. You start bullying even more people. And those people who you bully do the same thing as you just did. They bully even more people. So then a chain reaction begins to happen. And sooner or later, everyone will become bullies. So it's up to you to stay strong and not become that person. This has also happened to me. I'm a very funny person and I love doing raps. I even dream about being a famous rapper someday. I had started a rap that was quite funny. It was about many different things, especially the things that were happening around me. I loved it so much, I started showing it to everybody. And those people who I showed it to, they didn't judge me. They just laughed, and I did too, because the raps were funny. I started creating more and more raps, but those times I didn't share them. Why? Because I was afraid. I was afraid they were going to ruin all the passion and effort I had put in those raps. I was afraid that they were going to make my dreams, my thoughts, my raps, everything collapse. And I didn't want that. So this was what I wanted to know. Why other people's opinions and judgments are so important to us. Do we really need other people's approval to make us happy? The study of Tom Ferry about addiction to opinions from 2011 says that we are worried about the consequences based on other people's opinions. We're saying that if we say or do something different, we will be judged in a negative manner. We care what people think about us. That is nature. But that really affects the way you act, and it makes you do irrational things that are not you. Have you ever thought the day before school if your clothes would be appreciated by other people, or if they would like you? Everyone probably wants their friends, right? Of course you do. But sometimes we really don't know what the word friend means, because we're willing to change everything with their personalities to fit in with the crowd. Let's say, as an example, a popular group wears a certain style of clothing. So you go home and buy the same style, even though you don't like them. What are we doing? We're imitating them in order to be accepted. What is worse, if they bully or judge other people, you will do it too. Think it's cool, and it is what you have to do to be part of that group. Maybe we're missing the real meaning of the word friend. Friends are people who you can count on, who appreciate you for who you are. They will support you no matter what. Anyone that does not fit in with this description is not your friend. Have you ever come up with an idea which you thought was really great and you loved it, but then you started sharing it with other people or your family and friends and they said it was bad? Or maybe you didn't even ask them. You thought about yourself. Sometimes we also judge ourselves. And that is even worse, because maybe those people could have given you a good perspective. When I told my brother about my talk topic, why do we care so much about other people's opinions? He asked me, so why do we care so much about them? When he asked that, my mind went completely blank, because I was thinking of how to make a resume of my whole talk. Then I started saying that we change ourselves because we're scared about other people's opinions. But then he said something that still makes me think right now. I already knew that. My brother always has something honest or critical to say about what I do or say or think. But this time, I actually listened to him because I understood that I've not been trying to tell you anything new, I've not been trying to teach you anything, and I was not trying to impress you with some new concept. My actual goal was to remind you about this, because you need to remember that you are the owner of your path. Remember when I wanted to be a rapper? Well, I have changed. Now I have a new dream. Or shall I say new dreams? Do you need one dream to decide your future? Well, that is your choice. For example, I used to want to be a rapper, but now I want to be a writer, lawyer, actor, or even dancer. Will those change one day? Sure. You might be thinking, what happened to rapping? A minute ago you said that you loved it. Well, sometimes opinions are good, especially if they come from you to you. For example, I said to myself, is this really what I want to do? Is this my dream? Is this my passion? Agnese, is your voice really that good for raps? Maybe I thought that my ideas for raps weren't that good. This is another example of the importance of being yourself, no matter what. It takes courage to completely change your mind, no matter of what judgment. They might think I'm not coherent. They might think I'm confused. They might think I have a messy mind. Well, this is my choice to decide whether or not these opinions will change my path. Opinions are not always bad. Sometimes we need opinions, but good ones, like giving advice. And we need advice, so we don't continue making the same mistakes. We also need to give advice, so we become a better world. And you'll also never forget this. Not all opinions are facts. And you should never let any opinions ruin your thoughts or dream. Live your life how you want to live it. Now you will hear a poem that I wrote, expressing my feelings. Because I want to inspire you, like the rapper Rem inspired me, on not to be what others want me to be. As the hours pass, so do my powers. All the people not believing make me want to be leaving. But instead, shouldn't I be achieving? You shouldn't quit. You don't need other people's permits. Just continue with your dream. It's in the shadows that you must make a gleam. Just say no without opinion, because it's your dominion. Believe in yourself. Thank you.